for 2 years instead of 2 weeks, because in 2 years they'll know the people better. But I want them to do the best job they can. Where we have good people, that's precious. That's very important, and we want them to keep the good people. And so we're going to be watching them, and Elon and the group are going to be watching them. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting.
So, Mr. President, is that a reflection that you think Doge and Elon Musk have been moving too quickly?
No, I think they've done an amazing job. They've done an amazing job, and look at what they found. I read it the other night in the speech. I mean, they found these things where billions of dollars has been poured down the drain to things. That's not about people, that's about contracts where billions and billions of dollars was just thrown out the window. It probably got kickbacks. I'm sure there were tremendous kickbacks for the people that authorized those contracts. But no, Elon has been really teaching everybody about the numbers that you can do. But what I want is I want the numbers, but I also want to keep the good people. We want to get rid of the people that aren't working, that aren't showing up, and have a lot of problems. And so they're working together with Elon, and I think we're doing a really great job. We're cutting it down. We have to for the sake of our country. You can't have that kind of fat. It's bloat, and like nobody's ever seen before. Where you need 20,000 and they have 120,000 people, and you just don't need that many. And it happens with companies, and it happens with governments, I guess. You could go to a lot of governments, you'd see the same thing. But we're trying to get it down. We want to be able, next year we could balance the budget. I think there's a good chance we could balance the budget next year. We have a lot of good things happening. Plus we have a lot of revenue things happening, like today with the shipbuilding. And this gentleman behind me is going to create a lot of jobs. And he's about the biggest there is in the world. We had the biggest chip maker in the world here a few days ago. He's going to be spending $200 billion on building plants. We're not giving them any money to build it either. It's not, that CHIP Act is ridiculous, where the Biden thing, where they give billions of dollars to people that have nothing but money. They're not going to spend that money. They're just taking that money. We're giving nothing. They're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're opening up big. So, but with respect to people, I said, I want to cut the people, but I want to keep the good people.
President, tariffs, sir, can you walk us through the next steps on this? Steel and aluminum tariffs are due to kick in next week on Canada, Mexico, and every other country. Are those going to be modified as well?
No, those aren't modified. Those are happening next week. And the big one will be on April 2nd when reciprocal tariffs. So if India or China or any of the countries that really, India is a very high tariff nation. I'll tell you what's a high tariff nation is Canada. Canada charges us 250% for our milk product and other product, and a tremendous tariff on lumber and things as such. And yet we don't need their lumber. We have more lumber than they do. We don't need Canada's lumber. So what I'm doing is I'll be signing an executive order freeing up our forests so that we're allowed to take down trees and make a lot of money and then reharvest trees. Also, we're cutting fire divides. A fire divide is a 50-yard to 70-yard swath where the trees can't, it's long enough so trees don't burn forever until you can get them out. And those trees can be sold and made a lot of money with. So, but we'll be doing that. We don't need trees from Canada. We don't need cars from Canada. We don't need energy from Canada. We don't need anything from Canada. So where we can be self-sustaining, which is in most things. Look, we have more oil and gas than anybody. Our forests are massive, massive forests. We're just not allowed to use them because of the environmental lunatics that stopped us. So I'm going to be freeing that up very shortly so that we don't have to go to other countries to buy lumber. Why should we be buying lumber from other countries, paying tariffs, paying big prices, extraordinary prices, and we have lumber. We have the best lumber. Go ahead.
And this USMCA exemption you're essentially announcing today for this 1 month?
It's just a modification, short term, because I didn't want to hurt the American. It would have hurt the American car companies if I did that.
Would you consider the same sort of exemption or pause for the auto tariffs you're talking about?
We're not looking at that, no.
No,
we're not looking at that, no.
Revoking TPS for the Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.?
What about it?
Are you considering revoking the TPS TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.?
What are you saying? I don't-
The Ukrainians that are here in the
Yeah,
U.S.,
yeah.
they're under a TPS status.
On GPS?
TPS, temporary status.
Oh, I thought you said GPS.
TPS.
Yeah.
There was some news saying they were going to be revoked and they were going to be deported from the country. Are you considering that for the
Well, we're
Ukrainians?
not looking to hurt anybody, and we're certainly not looking to hurt them. And I'm looking at that, and there were some people that think that's appropriate and some people don't, and I'll be making a decision pretty soon, okay?
President Trump said.
But we're not looking to hurt them,
President Trump said
especially Ukrainians. They've gone through a lot. Yeah, Peter?
the clocks are gonna spring forward on Sunday. When are you going to get rid of daylight savings time?
Okay, are you ready? So, this should be the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's very much, it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And it's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even. And usually I find when that's the case, what else do we have to do?
And I gotta ask, because you were talking about this in your joint address, you were talking about Butler. It's been 7 months. Why do you think we don't know more about the guy who shot you in the ear?
Yeah, oh, well, and the second one with all of his cell phones. So I want to find the answers. I've told them. In fact, today I said, I want to find, we can no longer blame Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and I do believe I'll be releasing. I want to release the report. A lot of people have asked that question. You had one who had 3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly, and who has the biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about? His law, you know, the law firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones, and I don't have 6 cell phones. And why would somebody have 6 cell phones? So we're going to be releasing a report on that soon, Peter.
But based on what you're saying right there, the lack of information and the data points that you just gave, does that make you think that there's some part of that there's some bigger?
It could be. Well, it makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that would report on it, they didn't want to say why. I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, you know, and by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. I mean, maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to release that. I'd like to see it. I want to see it myself, Peter. Not only you, I want to see that one myself.
Mr. President,
May I?
Yes.
President Macron yesterday said that France was ready to offer its nuclear protection to other European countries. What do you make of it? And in this case, would the U.S. also maintain a nuclear umbrella for European countries?
Well, France is also willing to put soldiers into Ukraine for safety reasons if we can get it. I will say that we've made a lot of progress with Ukraine and a lot of progress with Russia over the last couple of days. And it'd be great to bring that to an end so we don't have to talk that way about nuclear. It'd be great if everybody would get rid of their nuclear weapons. You know, we have Russia and us have by far the most. China will have an equal amount within 4 or 5 years. And it would be great if we could all denuclearize, because the power of nuclear weapons is crazy.
No,
It's crazy. And, you know, I was very far along a process with Russia, despite the Russia hoax, which didn't make it easy.
强电模式，我看强电一按就开始。
Some bad people, but
大不是喜欢玩
despite
正
that, I
点
was
是不
very
是？
close to having a program with
应该是。
Russia, denuclearization, and we're going to get China. I spoke to President Xi about it, and he would have been very happy to have gone along with it. But
等一下哦，
bad things happened, like an election that was rigged happened.
嗯，
So we
等一下。
had to come back 4 years
换个
later.
任务。
But I would very much like to start those talks. The opposite of what you say, the denuclearization would be incredible.
Mr. President, on the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big three. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way, and what was the
I
reaction?
told them, that's it. This was a short-term deal. And they came back to me yesterday. They said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm going to do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the 2nd, April 2nd. I don't want to hear from you after April 2nd. We're not going to be doing it anymore. I want to help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short-term during this short-term transition. April 2nd is
重
going
点
to be
是
a very
就
big
是
day
一直
for
如果一直
America.
站点，是不是？
Mr. President, my understanding is that the longstanding U.S. policy is that we do not negotiate with.
航点刚刚是怎么玩？
So how did you come to the decision to send somebody to your team to
Oh.
negotiate with Hamas?
太薄了。
We are having
我说
discussions
站点是
with
怎么玩？
Hamas. We are helping Israel in
不知道有
the
个什么 point 的啊
talking about
不是啊，我的意思是他的玩法是什么？
Israeli hostages. And
会
啊
we're
一直
not
复
doing
活吗？
anything in terms of Hamas.
对呀
We're not giving cash. We're not giving $6 billion like
我
you
们好像
hear
可以去旁边练那
other
里，
administrations give. In
队友
fact,
复活他们
I
的
got 59 hostages
Oh.
out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing, not including what's going on with
感觉超
Hamas.
逗。
I mean, I consider that something where we're helping Israel for the most part. We had a couple of hostages, as you know. We got a couple of hostages out, American hostages.
Mr. President, about any changes
But certainly, Peter, you have to negotiate. There's a difference between negotiating and paying. We want to get these people out. If you would have seen the people yesterday, maybe you did, I don't know, but if you would have seen them, the way they spoke about their captivity, it was unbelievable. It's terrible.
Are you thinking about making any changes to NATO where a NATO country gets attacked, but they're not paying enough dues, so the United States doesn't defend them?
Well, I've said that to them. I said, if you're not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you're not going to pay your bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary General has said that. He said he's never seen anything like it. When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all. And I said I should wait till my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate. We're not going to protect you. And when I said that, as soon as I said that, it was amazing how the money came in. The money came in, and now they have money. But even now, it's not enough. It's really not enough. They should be paying more.
Mr. President, question on the investment, sir. You've overseen about $2 trillion worth of domestic private sector investments come in just about 2 months. This is the newest one. It comes after your announcement of
我已经听到了
building
crypto。
office at the White House during your joint session to
他
Congress.
怎么要讲话
Can？you talk about
听到
why
记
this
者
is
在问
important not only for national security but to continue the renaissance of domestic manufacturing?
Well, we
记
have
者在
to
小声
maintain
撒
a
小。
strong country. We have to maintain, we want to pay off debt. We have a lot of debt, but that'll start coming off quickly when this all comes around. Look, we've been supporting the whole world. You mentioned NATO and you mentioned other things. We've been supporting the whole world. When I first came in, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. NATO it was crazy. We were supporting NATO. We were paying the bills for other
我怎么
countries.
拍那么久？
And yet those same countries, mostly European, the European countries were ripping us off in trade. They won't take our cars. They wouldn't take our agricultural product. They wouldn't take anything. Yet we were taking their cars by the millions, Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen, all of them. We were taking their cars. They weren't taking it. We were taking their farm products. They weren't taking ours. It's a total ripoff. And yet we were protecting them by giving them the money. And, that adds up to a bad number at the end of a lot of years. And that's what happened. And now it's time for this country to stop being ripped off. I had that done very much in
听这么久
the
了，
first
谁靠北？
administration. But then we had to
在靠
focus on other
后配
things at the very end with
那题
COVID.
卡 bug，
And, but we had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in history. I think we're going to redo it here, but even better. And I wanted to do what we're doing now
模式
in the
谱
first
这有些谱，
but we had so many other things to do. We
它
had
这
to
个
fix the border, which we did.
pin
We
都
had to
超
fix,
高，
our military. We rebuilt our military.
都200 pin，每次看到你就直接跳起。
Only to watch Biden give so much of it away to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. It's not even believable. It's not even
你怎么知道
believable
200
what he
P？
did. The damage that that man did or that administration did
它不显示，我都不知道
to
我
this
几 P。
country is frankly not even believable. And in particular, allowing
哦，
millions and millions
超
of
烂，
people
要
to
配
come
多
into
久
our？ country. Many of them were murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from prison for very heinous crimes. For him to allow those people into our country, and now we're spending tremendous amounts of time and effort. Nikki and Tom Homan, who's doing an unbelievable job, but we shouldn't have to be spending anything on that. We had the safest border ever. Now we have actually, as you saw, the numbers just came out, where we have actually the lowest numbers in the history of our country. But we shouldn't have had to do that. What we're doing now is we're looking for murderers. Can you believe it? We're looking for murderers because thousands of murderers, some about 50% killed more than one person. One killed 5 or 7. And we're looking for those people right now. We shouldn't have to be looking for them.
President Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO. And, you know, the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, you know, I mean, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine. But if the United States was in trouble and we called them, we said, we got a problem, France. We got a problem, a couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us? They're supposed to. I'm not so sure. You know, with Japan, we have a deal, which is a very interesting one. And I love Japan. We have a great relationship with Japan. But we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. You know that? That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan. And by the way, they make a fortune with us economically. But we have to protect Japan. But under no circumstances do they have to
他一次
protect
就只能配一个
I
啊，
actually
干
asked
你
who
你
makes these deals? Yeah, Peter?
不能全部
那
玩
稀罕的妈，到为什么不能炫耀的模式随便抽一个？
I view NATO as potentially good, but you gotta get
哦，
some good thinking in NATO. It's very unfair what's been happening. Until I came along, we were paying close to 100% of NATO. So think of it. We're paying 100% of their military, and they're screwing us on trade.
And when
看
Zelensky
真是哦，我的天
inevitably
哪！
comes back to the White House, what do you
Damn.
expect from him?
还是不管了，丢着。
Do you think you'll see him in the next time?
啊，
Well, I think what's going to happen is
我说
Ukraine
不管了，
wants
就丢
to
着啊
make，
爆了就爆
a
了。
deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a certain different way that only I know. Only I know. They have no choice either.
Are you still thinking of going to Saudi Arabia and meeting with Putin about this?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President,
They've been very, I've made a deal with Saudi Arabia where, because normally you'd go to UK first. And last time I went to Saudi Arabia, they put up 450
真的是哦，干你你！
billion dollars. You know
又
that,
配
right?
1分钟，
You were there. We had American companies that took in
到底
450
是
billion.
想
I
怎
said,
样？
well,
什么自由游戏都配不到，
this time
还是直接
they've
塔科
gotten
夫原
richer.
本。
We've all gotten older. So I said, I'll go if you pay $1 trillion, $1 trillion
捡个乐
to
色，
American companies, meaning the purchase over a 4-year period of $1 trillion. And they've agreed to do that. So I'm going to be going there, and I have a great relationship with them. And they've been very nice, but they're going to be spending a lot of money to American companies for buying military equipment and a lot of other things.
哎，
Is that a trip in the near future?
Probably over the next month and a half. Yeah.
Mr. President, you told us a couple weeks ago
看
that
这
you
些
were
记者别再
looking
问
to
了啦，可不可以
speak
这么
with President Xi of China. That hasn't happened. How come? What are you
Well, I
waiting
have
for?
spoken to him, yeah.
Since that last phone call?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President,
I have a great relationship with
这
President.
记者可不可以问重点啊？
It
这
was
记者
hurt
问
because of COVID.
啊，中国
That's why I don't call it the China virus anymore. I said, please don't call it the China virus.
But to be clear, you've spoken to him since January 17th?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I
President.
speak to him a lot.
Regarding this executive order you signed revoking security clearances at Perkins Coie, do you think there should be more steps like this to be taken against other people involved in the Russia collusion?
I do,
hoax?
but that's going to be up ultimately to the Attorney General and various other people.
Absolutely. Just as a follow-up, the other night, we saw Democrats' behavior
啊，好了，
during your joint address to
那算了，
Congress.
去
Do
睡
you
觉
think
了
it，
不
shows
管了
just，
忘记给
how
他
out
报
of。touch they are with the American people, especially given that 79%
是的吗？
according to a CBS poll approved
No.
of your
I love this guy. Who are you?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I see. I really liked your
不，
question.
账号给我啊！啊，
Sir, regarding the executive
The
order,
answer is
账号给你。
just
账号给
to,
我，
and I
我
know
看
your
过
name very well. Good job, you do.
Thanks.
Yeah, the answer is
Thank
that
you.
it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what
Yeah, we'll
happened
give
the
it
other
up.
night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it.
不
And
过
worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan
Yeah.
of hers,
传一下。
and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear, but certainly she's lost
你是用电话
all
号？
credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly. Thank you,
Will
Nick.
will you
Yeah, but-
extend, if
Hmm?
the TikTok deal is not made on the timeline you gave, will you extend that? Will you?
Probably,
You will. Or is
I
that
think
Yeah.
we have a lot of
在哪里？
interest in TikTok,
Discord
and China is going to play a role. And so hopefully China will approve of the deal, but they're going to play a role.
它
But
不
we
能
have a
扫
lot of-
QR
we have
code
a
登
lot
录
of
啊，很
interest
烂
in
的。
TikTok.
How long will you extend it and how close are you to a
Well,
deal?
we'll see, but if I need, I don't, right now, we have at least another month, so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended. Yeah,
Mr.
please.
President, our country's
Mr. President,
reject-
regarding the executive orders, there was talk that you might sign one winding down the education department,
Which department?
the education department. Are you having second thoughts on that? What's
No,
the-
no,
what's the
no,
holdup
no,
with
no.
that?
I want to bring the schools